I have a question. Hopefully you have the answer. Who decides what a beautiful woman looks like? Seriously, not just in theory, not just online. Who holds the rule book that says what makes a woman beautiful? Because this week, the question kept coming up for me as I saw very different sides of the internet, very different sides of the world, and very different sides of the beauty community. And somehow, per usual, it all leads back to the same question.
Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, Beauty and the Beast.
For one, there was a black woman who was talking about her experience growing up in an overwhelmingly white community.
The first thing that I believed was I really believed that Jesus had cursed me. That was the reason why I was black.
And how that shaped her self-image, her confidence, her appearance, her beauty standards, and overall just the way she viewed herself. Then on the other hand, you have the internet beefing, fully going to town over Cheesecake Factory's Skinnylicious menu.
And while we're chatting, Cheesecake Factory's Skinnylicious menu is fatphobic.
Whether it's empowering, whether it's demoralizing, or whether it's another way that we've policed people's body with food. And if you've opened up TikTok recently, even if you have no connection whatsoever to university, college life in the US, you may have come across a RushTok video. And before you go thinking this is the video about sororities, it's not. However, in true fashion, I realized that watching all these videos, consuming all this content, and all of these things really made me realize something so in common about the beauty community. I love all things beauty, you know, skin, makeup, hair, wellness routine, you know, do. I love a beauty routine, okay? It's no shade, no tea. However, I realized that none of these conversations were fully about beauty, and they were more about belonging. And even though there's so many more beauty products, routines, trends, you know, we get into all that here on the Mac Edit, but I don't think, honestly, beauty has gotten more complicated. I just think it's gotten more bureaucratic. So if you're like, cool, Nia, you can throw out big words, but what the hell does that have to do with my 12-step beauty routine? I'm gonna tell you. Because bureaucracy is essentially a system of management, like the unspoken rules, the hierarchy, the rules, the specialized jobs and places and niches that all of us are supposed to fit into to play our part in society and to play our part into a larger structure. Now enter the chat, the beauty community and beauty standards. Beauty has existed forever. There have been so many beautiful people, so many beautiful things, so many beautiful rituals. And I feel like that is where I want to start, because beauty used to be so ritualistic. It used to be so community based. When I was thinking about this question, one of the first random memories that came to my mind was Avon and Mary Kay. If you remember those brands, deeply knitted, basically as a pyramid scheme, but that's neither here nor there, into the black community. There was like door to door, woman to woman, girl to girl, we're going around selling beauty products, you know, lotions, hand creams, makeup, all of it. It was very community based. You had to know somebody to buy it off of them, and just you had to catch the vibe. But even if you go back farther than that, if we talk about beauty rituals that have to do with ancient Egyptian tradition, African hair braiding, and no, I'm not even just talking about the braiding shop that you go to before vacation. I'm talking about where these traditions even started. Indigenous adornment, Southeast Asian wedding preparations. Beauty really existed around the kitchen tables. It existed by getting your hair washed in the kitchen sink. It was women teaching women, essentially. But now we have so many more reference points for beauty, for our beauty standards, and so many more rules, subscriptions. But I think villainizing beauty standards is wrong. Beauty standards, whether you like it or love it, have always been there. I just think beauty standards aren't the same as bureaucracy. So if we're all subject to this invisible rule book about how we take care of ourselves, how we look, how we present to the world, then first of all, who's writing the invisible rule book? And do we or do we not want to play by the rules? So then we have to figure out what changed. What switched up? Who switched up on them? So I stumbled upon this idea called the iron cage, and I was like, bingo, this is it. This applies so heavily to beauty, to the beauty community, and to the bureaucracy, the rule books, the things that we don't even know that we are subject to. The iron cage is this concept by Max Weber. In simple terms, it basically describes the fact that we have created so many systems and so many routines, so many rules, rules, categories, procedures, efficiencies, that eventually the systems that we created become the systems that we're trapped by. So instead of feeling like systems that we have control over, that we built as humans and that we can ebb and flow and change between or have the right to change these things, it just starts feeling like the reality. It just starts feeling like it is what it is. We have absolutely no control over it. And it's really interesting the point that Max Weber brought up, because it reminds me of a point that I'm reading in this book right now. It's called Quit Everything. It's by an Italian philosopher named Franco Berardi. And in this book, Franco Berardi essentially, to kind of sum it up a little bit, in more of a political and social action aspect than a beauty aspect, but I still think it has a lot of resonance. He talks about the fact that because there are so many grand things that have imposed themselves, the systems, the structures that are in place, or so many of chains of events that humans don't feel like we have control over, instead of being able to mobilize to have some kind of collective action or to make any kind of decision, we're actually in this period of time where we decide to do absolutely nothing. We recluse back and do absolutely nothing about it because we feel the systems, the things that are in place or in play are so much bigger than us that it doesn't even matter what we do. You can kind of hear this, of course, during election season and all the things, living in democracy, boop to the bop. I feel like that concept even just applies to how we are in the beauty community and in our own concept of our own beauty, because we feel like there's so many external pressures, especially when it comes to social media, especially when it comes to TikTok, Instagram, your cousin on Facebook talking about, whatever they're talking about. We feel like there's so much noise that we don't even quiet the noise in order to understand what we like, love, enjoy, or even want to express with our own beauty. So while I don't think that's all doom and gloom, a really good point that I do think that comes out of this book so far that I've read is that not taking a stance is also a stand. While some generations or some people's personality types may lean more to the fact of seeing stepping back to not do anything as you're doing absolutely nothing, that actually is a stance in and of itself, because you're saying, I'm not participating in the laws, in the infrastructure, in these systems that have been constructed, and who says that I have to. Now, while I think that obviously gets really slicey and dicey when it comes to a political and a social action realm, I think beauty is a beautiful case study for that, because who, I've asked this question, who is the arbitrator? Who was the one that decided not only that women need to be the most productive, hottest selves ever in life, but who is the person who is writing these social norms? There is no law on the books, at least not in this country that I live in, that says that you have to abide by certain beauty standards. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that there aren't pros and cons. There aren't reactions to your actions of abiding or not abiding by, quote unquote, these social beauty standards, because leaning into the beauty standards definitely provides a level of access, a level of respect almost, and all of these things. But at the end of the day, nobody's holding you hostage and saying that you have to shave your armpits. I mean, don't get me wrong. I will not be walking around with a bush under my armpits, but I can see why, some people do. And I think it also reveals another question of yourself. If you are looking at other people and holding them to your beauty standards, then you yourself are also holding up these bureaucratic standards that maybe you need to look at for yourself. Just because you do something doesn't mean that you have to hold other people to that same beauty standard. Beauty is subjective, beauty is relative, beauty is personal. Yet we organize our lives and a lot of our trends around said beauty standards. We want people to get their color analysis done before they can wear a certain color. You need to make sure you have an anti-aging skincare routine if you're over the age of 30. Ebb and flow between doing high rocks or having a Pilates body or being a Miami mommy. I think what's so interesting, especially about this concept, is that nobody voted for these rules. But yet we all still know them, and some of us abide by them. And whether you do or you don't is a personal decision. That makes me know, never mind. Okay, if you like it, I love it. You know the rules, as long as we're not harming anybody. But I think that can be the harm, is the most powerful systems are the ones that we don't even realize we're being subjected to. Now, this is why those RushTok videos give me a cackle. And I like watching them. I like seeing what are the teeny bops doing? Okay, what are we doing? It's interesting, and it's so funny to me. I am in a sorority, a very different one, a historically black sorority. Shout out to my sorors, a Delta Sigma Theta sorority. incorporated. So we have very different traditions, rituals, and even marketing, if you will, towards how we approach membership in sororities. So seeing how different groups of sororities recruit and how they, behave online, all the things, it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. But in the terms of beauty, I think it speaks volumes. It is a microcosm of something so powerful. It confirms the fact that belonging essentially has a dress code. Now, again, this isn't a critique of Greek life. I just think it is a perfect little case study, if you will, of what it looks like when beauty itself, like your concept of feeling beautiful, isn't the entire point. It's what those things are signaling. How you wear your hair, what kind of clothes you wear, what labels of clothes do you wear, the jewelry that you put on, how you speak, your presentation, your energy, more energy, more energy, more passion. Your photographs, like how good your Instagram grid is, how good your TikToks are, and just your overall branding. It essentially screams, what kind of brand are you? Now, from two perspectives. One, from the sorority itself, when they're putting out this content, they're saying, this is our brand, this is who we have here, this is who we're maybe trying to attract, we want this kind of energy, you need to hit this 1-2 step, this 8 count, this boom cat, you need to be able to do this, that, and the third. They're saying, this is what we want to bring here, this is the kind of energy, this is how we want to move here, without explicitly saying it. On the application for a sorority, it doesn't say you have to have a certain color hair and a certain color eyes, but their videos very much might tell you that, okay? Or it doesn't say you need to come from a certain tax bracket, but again, if you can't afford Rush, let alone all of the events that come along with being in a sorority or being in a university, it might weed you out. Let's zoom out a bit, because of course I have my college girlies here on the channel and I love you guys, but also this does not end at the university level. Every institution has signals. Corporate America has signals, big business has signals, fashion has signals, online content creation has signals, churches, fitness, neighborhoods, creative industries, different kinds of universities have an image, have a brand, have a signal. So for me, RushTok just shows like this externalized form saying, hey, you belong here, without me having to tell you explicitly the things that you need to check off to be here. It serves as a reference point, and this is why reference points matter so much. On the other side of the internet this week, I saw a video that broke my mother freaking heart. Okay, it broke my heart, and I'll play a clip of it here.
I grew up in Utah, raised in a white family, and I was also raised religious. Here are things that I really and truly believed growing up in Utah as a black girl. Disclaimer, I am a little bit naive, so I would believe just whatever people told me. The first thing that I believed was I really believed that Jesus had cursed me. That was the reason why I was black. The next thing that I believed that my hair was really hard to manage and that I would never be able to grow healthy hair and that it was just too hard to manage and it was better to have it straightened. A lot of people also told me they would like me better with like my hair straightened or like my braids. I grew up thinking that I could never view myself as pretty because I'm not like the superior race. It's not that there isn't, but like that's kind of how my mindset was. I really was like, oh my gosh, like I'll never be able to like be pretty or look pretty because I'm not white. I grew up thinking that if I didn't have kids, I wouldn't be able to go to heaven. I don't know where I read that or heard that, but I was told that something or someone had said that, something like that. So I really was like, oh no, like what? Like what happens if you can't have kids? I really did not know about other relations. Like I genuinely had no clue that there were no other relations because I thought that LDS church was the only religion ever. Talk about like other religions, but I didn't know anybody who went to a different church or anything like that. I really thought that the LDS church was literally the only religion.
Talks about her experience being a black girl who was adopted into an all-white family, into a very overwhelmingly predominantly white state and community, as well as a very strict religious background of an upbringing. So there was no diversity whatsoever around her. Now, one of my superpowers, if you will, one of my pride and joy is the fact that I am also adopted. Not to a white family, so I can't speak to that. So I do have a very unique perspective and understanding when it comes to what she's talking about here. Reference points matter so much. It very much leans into that nature versus nurture conversation that you can literally pluck a child and drop them off somewhere, and where you drop them off matters. This goes to when you drop yourself off to college, when you drop yourself off into corporate America, when you drop yourself off into, a relationship, when you move to a new city. All of these things matter when it comes to the externalized factors for beauty that go on in those areas and your internalized view of beauty for yourself. So while we talked about RushTok being the externalized bureaucracy of beauty 101, let's talk about the internalized one. Let's talk about when you yourself have internalized these rules, maybe consciously or unconsciously, and somehow you have this groundswell of a feeling in your stomach, in your mind, when you lay your head at night that you don't belong here, or that you're not beautiful, or any of the lies. Okay, let's just put it out there. Lies, okay? I just want you to know, lies, that you don't belong, that you're not beautiful, and all of these things based on, hear me, invisible rules and regulations. And again, this is not to discredit the fact that they don't exist, but I think the conversation needs to return back to the fact that we have control over the rules because they are in fact invisible. And beauty, for as long as humans have been around, it isn't just decoration, it isn't just vanity. It's one of the oldest ways that humans have always communicated belonging. So depending on where you grew up, depending on how you grew up, depending on obviously the words spoken over you in your household, the things that you encountered in school, the things that you encounter online on social media, the things that you encounter along the way that you pick up, that you ingest, and that you hold as truth for yourself, it changes how you view things. It changes how you view other people. It changes how you view yourself. Especially even as I was slightly triggered by Haley's video, sometimes we're not chasing beauty. Like, yes, we obviously want to be beautiful and whatever that means to you, but really we're chasing belonging. And let me tell you, this video broke my heart in so many ways because obviously there's so many things in this one video that are so problematic, but they are unfortunately the unspoken, spoken out loud, invisible rules and standards that Black women, people of color, marginalized groups, just anybody who doesn't look like quote unquote the standard of beauty have heard in some way, shape, or form. Something along these lines they have either encountered, heard somebody else say, it's been spoken to them, maybe it's something you believe about yourself. Like, you just need to unpack that, especially for yourself, as a priority, but then also how you reflect that out into the world and impressing that upon other people. One of my favorite things that I read in a book that I read a couple years ago, and I'm pretty sure it was in Pleasure Activism, a book that I've talked about here on the channel before. And again, I don't agree with everything in this book, but this quote has always stuck with me and really helped me advocate for other people and also advocate for myself. It goes something like, for oppressed people to intentionally cultivate pleasure is an act of resistance. For you to be able to cultivate your own idea of pleasure and beauty and have your own idea of beauty standards for yourself and not impress those on other people is surely an act of resistance. So similar to how I was saying with the other book that I'm currently reading about reclusing back and not leaning into these invisible bureaucratic standards that exist, for you to be able to step back and say, actually, I'm not going to subscribe to the fact that dark skin is ugly. I'm not going to subscribe to the fact that natural hair is unmanageable. I'm not going to subscribe to the fact that insert some busted ass truth that you may have believed in the past, or something that has been impressed upon you, or some beauty standard that somewhere off pie in the sky has, put out there. For you to be able to examine that for yourself, to break free from it, it doesn't mean that you can't participate in those things. It doesn't mean I can't straighten my hair. That doesn't mean that I can't, wear makeup or do this. That doesn't mean I have to stop shaving my armpits and I have to be like this radical picture of resistance, because then I think you also get into a realm where now you performatively are being resistant. But truly for yourself, having the confidence to say that as an act of pleasure, as an act of beauty, that is me standing up to say I'm not subscribing to, especially the things that Haley was describing in that video. Because it is in fact a gift to be in touch with your own desire, to be able to say yes, to be able to say no. And I feel like a lot of that decision-making power and that power in our own beauty has been stripped away from us, so many of us, unfortunately, because of these bureaucratic systems that we don't even pay any mind to anymore. We just float in the air, carry on about our day, eat, pray, love, and mind our business without actually being intentional about our beauty. And it's one of the things that we focus on so much. It's so funny to me because I wake up in the morning, and I'm like, what's happening on the face today? What's going on? Is the booty dump truck wagon, has it grown? Okay, we focus so much on beauty, but we actually aren't as intentional with our beauty. And I find that to be absolutely nuts. So let's bring back being more intentional and recognizing the standards that we are subjecting ourselves to, and that we can also say, hey, I don't have time for that. And beauty can be so overwhelming. It can sound vain to be like, oh, I'm worried about how my hair looks. I'm worried about if I got my lashes done. I'm worried about if my nails are done. But those are the things that definitely consume some of our mind space, whether we like to admit it or not. Whether it's because we feel like we have to abide by the trends that are on social media, whether it's things that we've grown up believing about ourselves, like whatever it is when it comes to beauty, it's okay to say that you like beauty. Okay, I like to be cute. What that means for me, por ejemplo, like everyone has like their thing, for example, and even if you don't have a thing, like whatever your thing is, my thing is my nails. God forbid when I leave this earth, please someone make sure I have my nails done. I don't care what else is going on. Please make sure I have my nails done. That's just what it is, what it won't. Some people are like, no, I need to have a middle part bust down before I leave this earth. Cool. Some people are like, I need to have my lashes done. Even if your beauty thing doesn't fit into like a traditional standard, like hair, nails, lips, whatever, some people have their thing. Whatever that is, that's fine. It's okay to admit that, but you don't have to be overwhelmed by beauty. It's such an important distinction. And this is where it hit home for me a lot a bit lately, because I feel like beauty can sometimes become this report card. You looking in the mirror is how you grade your day, is how you can grade how well you're doing. However, really, it is so much bigger than that, especially when it comes to things that we have rendered down to being only vain. For example, I got really sick, and then a couple weeks after that, I was noticing to the touch that my hair was literally falling out. And I was like, gasp. At first, I'm like, I just need a trim. But then I washed my hair, and girl, there was whole curls. I said, gasp. I'm not even kidding you. I cried. I'm not even kidding you. I cried because it's so easy to be like, what hairstyle am I going to do next? What protective, not protective style am I going to do? Does my hair look good today? Did I pick it out enough? Like, is it moisturized? Is my scalp dry? Did I eat, pray, love, and mind my business? It's so easy to get caught up in the vain things of our vanity and then miss the signals that our body is actually trying to tell us. Like, I had gotten sick, and then weeks after, you can have your hair fall out. It was a reaction in my body saying, hey, I was taking care of you. I was making sure you were good. You got through that episode of sickness, so your hair was like the least important thing at the time. So I had to give it a little less energy, a little less effort, and my body was recuperating from that. Your beauty routine can be more than just vanity. It can be information. This is why, especially as women, when you go to the OBGYN, when you go to the doctor, they tell you doing your breast exams, making sure in the shower that you're checking for lumps and bumps and things that don't feel right. That's not just for cutesy wootsy, like you know your push-up bra. You need to be checking these things because it's information. It's your body telling you what it needs. So while yes, the fro has been froing lately, it has been through some things, and it's not just, to make me prettier. Like, yes, I love my hair, and yes, I love, all the things, but your beauty isn't just about the vanity of it all. It can not only tell other people a story by the external presentation of it, but you really need to be tuned in and tapped in inward of what it's trying to tell you. Like when I was in the height of my acne, you already know I've told you guys about my acne story because it was that bad. What was going on inside of my body that it was trying to tell me? What were my hormones trying to tell me, rather than how many 50 different products can I slap on my face? I've mentioned this philosopher here on the channel before, but I think one of his really powerful arguments, no pun intended, Michael Foucault, he essentially argues that power isn't always something that forces you to do something. Sometimes power is really just defining what is normal. Like, that is the more powerful thing, if you will. So really it starts to manifest in a way where you stop questioning, do you feel beautiful? Are you leaning into beauty rituals? Like, do you love the beauty things that you're doing? Do you like the makeup that you're putting on? Do you like the style, the way you're dressing? Do you like your skincare routine? Is it working for you? And you start asking yourself more questions like, am I complying with the beauty standards that are around me? For example, like, do I look like the girls in Utah? Do I look like the girls in my sorority? Do I look like X, Y, and Z? Just those as examples, but those aren't the things that are inherently bad. There's the nuance, the history, and the context. But of course, it wouldn't be a MAC edit if I didn't share with you the products, the things, the beauty, the things, okay, that I've been liking and loving lately. And I feel like that have been more so evidence of how I've changed this mindset for myself. First, enter the chat. slowing down to do my skincare. These are the CosRx Snail Mucin Sheet Masks. I know I've probably mentioned these before, but I won't shut up about the things that I love, and that's just what it is, and that's how you know I'm not lying. Over and over again, I'm like, okay, what can I genuinely and authentically and really want to share with you guys? And I return to some of the favorite things. These sheet masks single-handedly changed my life. Now, I know these don't work for everybody, and of course, again, the products that I'm sharing with you, don't feel like you have to get it because this is the beauty standard or because you need to buy it, but because they work for me, and it just reminds me to slow down and have a nice quality time with my skincare. These sheet masks, not only once I do them, one time and I dispose of the sheet mask, save the pouch. There's so much goodness, juicy serum in the pouch itself. It lasts for maybe like 2, 3, 4 days after, and it's perfect for gua shaing. I have this like pink stone gua sha, and I just use it to massage and lymphatic drainage my face. I remember there was a time I did not want to sit down and really do my skincare or take my time with just slapping it on my face because I was so insecure about my skin. I do not want to look in the mirror, okay? If you know what you know. There are definitely times when you're like, I don't even want to look in the mirror because I don't even like what the hell I'm looking at, okay? It is okay. It is going to be okay. You need to take the time to make rituals out of your day to slow down and do your skincare and do your beauty rituals. So these sheet masks always remind me of that because you can't really do too much when you have a sheet mask on, okay? You really can't. Like, you think you can, but you can really just lay there. And if you thought I was going to do a beauty video without mentioning Danessa Myricks products, you're sadly mistaken. You're like, Nia, shut the hell up about Danessa Myricks products. You talk about them all the time. I won't, and don't. Of course, you already know my love, the blurring balm, the Danessa Myricks blurring balm. This is in the shade 9.5. I am yet again, this is probably my third or fourth one, way in the pan. Okay, we're scraping the edges on that one. It's time to re-up on that. It's innovative, it's perfect, it's lightweight, it's breathable, it doesn't break my skin out. But my new favorites, because honestly, again, you can't try everything and just like all in one sweep, okay? You have to introduce things slowly and intentionally and figure out what works for your skin, works in your beauty routine. I introduced the Yummy Skin Water Powder Serum to prep the skin, and then also I told you guys about the 10 out of 10 Barrier Boost. This may be like my new favorite like skincare product. You don't even have to just use it as skin prep. This is genuinely skincare in a bottle. It's like an extra layer of, it feels like, protection and moisture for your skin, and then this is some of the best to prep your skin for makeup with. Like, it just literally disappears into your skin, but it catches the makeup so perfectly. So my love for Danessa Myricks beauty products, hands down, period, point blank. Innovation in a bottle, in a product. I'm gonna insert this video here. Where are the girls? Where are we getting like intimates and loungewear, like actual good quality materials of intimates and loungewear? I don't want to hear about Skimberly. I don't. I'm so sorry, I don't. I just won't, and I won't be explaining any further. But like, yeah, I need new bras and underwears and all the things, truly, because they're hanging on by a thread. And since everyone on the internet thinks they know everything, where are we truly getting really good quality intimate wear? That's where I'm really trying to boss up those like more delicate areas in my wardrobe and in my life, and just the details, like just some really, really quality like pieces like that, like 100% cotton, 100% like silk, like good fabric. So let me know. Intimates, okay? Intimate. But something so funny about this video is because I literally asked a simple question, as I do here on the Mac edits. I was like, yo, girls, for real, where are we getting comfortable, quality, really nice, premium, organic, whatever, insert all the wonderful terms here, loungewear and intimates? And you guys responded. Making sure you're prioritizing your intimates wear is something that's so slept on. I feel like, especially as a certified big t-shirt and pajama girly, like it's just so easy to not have on any drawers.
Again, it looks like you went and got a blow job at your blowout at your
chillin', comfortable, calm, cool, collected, okay, eat, pray, love, and mind my business. But however, especially when you are in groups of people, for example, you've grown up in maybe households, communities, cultures that prioritize you need to work, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that. It's more about productivity, it's more about busyness, it's more about, optimization, it's more about having your own and, all those kinds of things. Where intimacy and pleasure, for example, and not even just in a, sexual sense, knowing your body, feeling comfortable in your body, feeling comfortable, looking at your own body, all of those things are not really talked about. It's very taboo. It's very, hush hush. So I feel like intimates is such a way, especially as an adult. Okay, I'm talking to my adult. I'm talking to my grown folks here. Intimates is such a way to really understand and spend more time with your body and as a part of your beauty routine. It doesn't have to be for the gaze of other people. It doesn't even necessarily have to be the gaze for your partner, whoever. It could be for the gaze of yourself, but to really have quality intimate wear, no pun intended, intimate personal layer to honor and be with yourself. So that's just something I've been leaning into lately. This video was a reminder of that, and also a treasure chest, if you will, of the girlies just giving all the tea of where we're getting the cute, intimate loungewear, okay? Which is why I love my homey bathrobe so much. Again, you can have on your nice little intimates and have on your bathrobe. This bathrobe is like a terry cloth material, so it's thick, it's heavy, you can hop out of the shower. I love it because if you have on body lotions, oils, it's not going to mess up like a silky kind of bathrobe. I have those as well. You got on your lotions, your oils, your potions, your scents, and you're all, greased up under there. This is like the perfect kind of robe to, do your skincare in. It's nice and warm and cozy. I love homey. It is a little pricey. It is something I look forward to in my beauty routine, just putting on my robe and doing my skincare, relaxing, just romanticizing the whole thing. Now, as you can see, this isn't an anti-beauty video. Absolutely not. If you are a part of this community, you already know I love and advocate for you having your own beauty and what that means to you. That's why I feel like asking yourself, your makeup, your skincare, your beauty, your fashion, all of these things. Are you internalizing, accepting things as truth that aren't really meant for you to hold on to? Are you really married to and, in the iron cage, if you will, of invisible rules that you don't have to abide by? And just taking the time and taking the intention to be able to question those things, and then take what you want, leave what you don't, and keep it pushing, okay? And then don't judge other people for what they are doing. Try your best. I mean, I'm not perfect, okay? Not all gonna get everything right, but I feel like the more confident you are in yourself and your own beauty routine, the less the insecurities play a weight in how you make these decisions for yourself, and also, again, how you view other people. You can see other people so much more beautifully, so much more freeing, and really appreciate other forms of beauty. You don't have to see yourself as a fish out of water. You don't have to see other people and how they're doing things as oh, what the hell. You can be like, okay, if you like it, I love it, as long as we're not harming anybody. That's really where that saying comes from. So I'm not a beauty hater. I'm just questioning the moment that our personal rituals, our intimate rituals, became judge and jury for the public, became a public requirement, became rules that we had to abide by. So maybe beauty isn't the bureaucracy, maybe belonging is. That's what's gatekeeping us. I think underneath all these conversations between Utah, between Skinnylicious, Cheesecake Factory menu, between all of it, we're really asking, where do I belong? Where do I see myself? How am I represented, or how am I disrespected in the world around me? So I say all of this to say, A, that you're beautiful, duh. And don't forget to just be intentional about your beauty rituals and routines, regardless of the pressures that be. So, I love you so much. Catch you on the next Mac Edit. Bye.